everybody, and welcome to May's episode of Paizo Live, our fireside chat show where we talk to our creatives about the wonderful projects they're working on. My name is Rue Dickey. I use they, he, or z pronouns, and I'm Paizo's marketing and media specialist.
I'm John Morgantini. I use he, him pronouns, and I am the community manager and social media manager. We have an extra special Paizo Live for you today. It's big sized. We had to include a whole extra free action. Today, we're going to be talking to Jenny Jarzabski about Mechageddon, Shay Snow about Pathfinder Society Season 6, Jason Keeley and Thurston Hillman about our free RPG day.
No, I kicked Thirsty out.
Oh, you did
It's
kick
Jenny
Thirsty
again.
out. Okay, awesome. Well, and then also we're going to be talking about adventure pads with John Compton and James Jacobs as well. So lots and lots and lots of stuff today.
And don't forget, if you've got questions for any of our panelists, put them in the chat. We've got chat moderators gathering them for the end when we'll have a nice big Q&A. But without further ado, I'm going to take us over to talk to Jenny about Mechageddon.
Hey.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi,
I actually
Rue.
want to start with a question that I keep forgetting to bring back onto Paizo Live.
Yeah, go for it.
What have you been playing lately?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever actually asked me that one on Paizo Live yet. Yeah, so other than doing a lot of Starfinder 2 play testing with Starfinder team, some of which we might have a little inside view for you coming up pretty soon, so stay tuned on that. I assume you mean non-Paizo games.
It can be whatever you want.
Honestly, I, like a lot of people, I watched Fallout Prime and I wanted to go back to playing Fallout. So I've been playing Fallout 76 with some friends and just like running around the wasteland and looting things and trying to get my power armor built. So that's that's what I've been doing lately.
Have they added NPCs back into the game yet?
Yes, there are NPCs in the game.
Amazing.
Yes. No more people having to role play that out themselves, which is honestly amazing.
Really
that
cool,
ever
yeah.
happened. Yeah, absolutely.
All
Love
right.
seeing a community do that stuff.
Well, the humans are here for Mechageddon as much as I would love to hear about your
Yes.
Fallout 76 campaign. So why don't we start with just, in case someone has missed all of the amazing things that we've talked about it thus far, can you just give us a rundown of what Mechageddon is?
Absolutely. So Mechageddon is an adventure path that uses our mech rules in Starfinder from Tech Revolution, which of course you can buy Tech Revolution. It has been out for quite a few years. You can also get those rules for free on Archives of Nethys. So check that out. It is a very mech-centric campaign. As well as having a character, you're going to have a mech that you can start out with a couple of sample mechs that you get when you join up and you start the campaign, or you can custom build your own. You can modify and customize them as you go on, or just have a totally custom mech from the beginning. So in a way, you have two characters. You have your pilot character and your mech character, and it goes from levels 3 to 18. Now, that might seem like kind of a weird level slice, but honestly, when you're level 18 in a mech in Starfinder, you're fighting like CR 23 enemies. So we're going like up into the approaching godlike type tier range. So you're going to have some pretty interesting encounters there. It's mostly mech combat. There's some character combat as well, skill challenges, social scenes. And yeah, it's just a full campaign with a central story that has you as a group of new recruits on planet Daimalco, which is our planet that's ravaged by kaiju or colossi in Starfinder. And you join up with a defense force that's protecting your city from these colossi. And of course, to do so, you, yeah, there's one of those colossi right there, Torment, just living their best life. But unfortunately, their best life involves stomping your city into the ground. So you better get in your mech and do something about it. So you get a chance to do that in Mechageddon. And yeah, it's basically a full campaign with some other toolbox items for your GM, some side jobs, also some new lore, a catalog of new mechs, some new colossi, demons, and other mech-worthy enemies. So yeah, that's what you're getting with Mechageddon.
And I'm so lucky I got to pre-watch the Mechageddon panel this morning, so I know lots about Mechageddon, and it's really, really fresh in my mind. I really want to hear, you mentioned something about there being some new toolbox mechanics and some characters. What can you tell us about the mech pilots maybe that aren't your player characters, but the other members of the, is it Huskars? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, so in Mechageddon, we went back to some old lore on planet Dimalco, which is that Valco is a local name for a mech. So when I and the authors who worked on this project were planning together and getting started, we thought, well, maybe pilots should have a special name. So we're calling them Huskars. And what you just saw, that's Raptor. That's his call sign. He's actually a commander, so he's an officer with the New Valor Defense Force, who is kind of a mentor and guide for your characters, or I don't know, maybe he's a roadblock if you don't like always playing by the rules, but whatever, he's there in your campaign. He's giving you a lot of your early missions. And there is another squad of recruits who you can get to know. I think that's also who you were asking about, Rue.
Yeah.
Did we pull art for them too for this? I can't remember.
Is Gorgoth or Revolka one of them?
No, I didn't pull any. So you'll have to watch that Mechageddon panel or actually check out the player's guide, which you can get for free on Paizo.com, and you'll see art of all of them. It's a little squad of rivals or best friends or love interests or just, just buddies, and they are important to the story as well.
Very excited about that. Well, you mentioned in your sort of like overall description that this starts at third level.
Mhm.
What would you suggest for someone who wants to play this starting at first level? Like maybe if they're new to Starfinder, or if they'd like to get those first couple levels under their belt before they hop into intense mech combat.
Yeah, so you have a lot of options. One of the things I would suggest doing if you're new to Starfinder is checking out Junker's Delight, which is a really fun module, super popular. You get to go to planet Akaton and, kind of poke around the junk heaps and fight with, gangs that are rivaling for control over the area, plus like make your own like cool junk stuff and, kind of carve out your own territory for you and your friends. That's a good starter. It starts at level 1. There's not mech combat there, so you can get a handle on the basic rules, and it is written with a newer GM or new party in mind. There's some GM tips and guidance in there. Starfinder Society has a lot of really awesome adventures, many of which are at first level. Those are only, I think they're like $7-8 now. Like they're really cheap for what you get, like a 3 to 5 hour adventure with plenty of
Also,
encounters. Yeah.
if you're running games for your friendly local game store and your game store is a registered retailer with us, they get access to those scenarios for free so that they can run them in the store.
Yeah, so you never know, if you ask around, maybe you'll get to run them for free. So there's that. Also, we are publishing some free encounters to be a prologue to your Mechageddon campaign if you'd like. Those are going to be coming out in the coming weeks on the Paizo blog. Again, those will be free. One is at level 1 and the other is at level 2. So you get another chance to test out some mechs as well once you get a handle on Starfinder combat.
That's so awesome. Now we've been talking a lot about mechs, and I don't know if we've shown them on screen yet because I'm not looking at the stream. But can you tell me a little bit about the mech customization and the already available mechs that you start with in Mechageddon?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we can show off some mech art as we talk about this too. So when you start out, so this is the anthem. This is actually one of the examples in the
This
mech
is my
catalog.
favorite.
I love it too. You basically pilot with music. It's amazing. So you start out with some standard issue New Valor Defense Force mechs, and there are some options for you to swap out modules. Like if you prefer a certain type of weapon or something, a type of movement, there's a few little customized options just right out of the box. Of course, you can forego that entirely, and you can use the rules in Tech Revolution to completely create your own mechs with your GM's permission, of course. So yeah, so there's going to be some options for beginners who want to try it out or just try like what standard issue. There's some examples for you if you want to see what's possible, like the anthem. We also have another one called the Massacre, which is just another example of just the varied mech designs. you can see that one packs maybe a little more of a punch.
It-
Or a
it-
gun.
I'm like, I believe it has both a gun and a sword from the looks of it.
Built by Razor. I see that in the chat.
This mech
Amazing.
is for gamers.
Yeah, this is your RGB like gamer mech right here. And not really, but you'll have to check out Mechageddon and see what it's all about. But yeah, there's some examples for you. And of course, you can always just, customize it, make it your own. There's tons of options in Tech Revolution.
And just to be fair to both sides of this very difficult conflict, and also because I love colossi and I think they're beautiful, there are also a handful of new colossi that have been designed for this adventure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, there's our little car cog. We've shown
I
off
love
some
them.
we showed off some others in different streams, but this is the first time we've had them out. Yeah, there's new colossi, not only stat blocks, because you're going to need something to fight in a mech, especially being part of New Valor Defense Force, but there are also, there's a colossi template, and there's some new lore about colossi on Daimalco.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to run this campaign, like what kind of campaign is Mechageddon? Like, should I think of this as a dungeon crawl? Should I think of it as more of a like Pacific Rim-esque campaign? How do you feel about that?
So honestly, Mechageddon in a lot of ways can be whatever you want it to be. Pacific Rim, there's a lot of like very similar themes, and obviously the premise is very similar, at least in the beginning, which is, you're recruited or you join up to this military that is fighting off kaiju from destroying your hometown or the city you're in for whatever reason. When we wrote this, the authors and I that worked on Mechageddon, we were very passionate about it and trying to bring little homages and bits and pieces of different like mecha media and kaiju media that we enjoyed, but also telling its own unique story that is not like anything that you've played or read or watched before. That being said, there's a lot of tools to make it your own. There's some tone shifts in there. Like there is a definitely dramatic story that if you play it straight, like there's some dark moments, there's definitely some hard choices to be made and some things that, your characters might find truly devastating when they find out. However, there's also some silly moments and there's some levity with things like, oh, you maybe go and work for a performing troupe of, people that put on shows with mechs and all kinds of ridiculous pyrotechnics. So there's a balance, and you as a GM, as a group, can tailor that to what you are comfortable with at your table. So it can be like the most ridiculous, anime BS you've ever imagined, or it can be like this grim, dark, gritty, like the reality of war story. Oh yes, there's one of those interesting NPCs that you're going to meet in Mechageddon on the stream right now. Some kind of demonic looking mech. So yeah, I'm hoping that you can really make this what you want, like your ideal mech campaign. But we do have a story and some encounters provided for you to make that happen. So please check it out.
That's
If nothing
awesome.
else, for the art, like the
It's
art is
beautiful.
it's so much better. Sorry, Rue. I'm like not trying to interrupt you, but I'm also
Oh,
going to show
no.
the book, the special edition. Like it's so good.
No, yeah, I was about to say Jenny was showing this off earlier, and the art is somehow even more beautiful
Yes.
in the book than it is looking at it on my screen, and it's just amazing.
Here's some cool, I don't know if how well y'all can see this, but
Ooh.
here's some like previews of spreads. But anyway, please check out what the Mechageddon team and I have been working on for a while now and are really excited to share with you soon.
Now, we have one last thing we like to do on Paizo Live, and that's that we like to ask if you could bring us a spoiler. I know you've told us lots about Mechageddon, but could you give me just one extra little thing?
I can do that. Since we talked about Colossi, I will spoil for you that as of Mechageddon, there is going to be a playable Colossi option. So in the back of this lovely book, when you find out the interesting lore about Colossi of Dimalco, you can also learn how to play someone who has a connection to Colossi, the Colossi-born species. That's a big spoiler.
So cool.
Yeah, so enjoy that, and you can wonder, how on earth is that possible? Is that possible when you start the campaign? Is it a result of the campaign? And why does this happen? Well, that you will have to play to find out. So please enjoy.
Thank you so much, Jenny. I know we'll have you back also in a couple of segments talking about Free RPG Day, but I'll also see you at the end for our Q&A. So if you have
Awesome.
any questions about Mechageddon, like I said, drop them in the chat. We will get to them at the end. We're going to take you into a short ad break that's going to start with the Mechageddon trailer. And then after that, we'll have Jon talking to James Jacobs and John Compton about adventure paths.
The year is 324 AG, and Dimalco is at war with itself. The Colossi took everything from us. They razed our cities and trampled our world into dust. Oceans boiled and the ground quaked with their footsteps. Millions perished. The survivors fled underground to hide like the prey they were. Then we learned to fight back. We built war machines from the wreckage of our shattered past. We called them Valkos. The brave souls who piloted them were the Huskars. They fought for a new home in this broken world at great cost. That was 200 years ago. Now we still defend New Valor against the Colossi that would destroy it. Some say we're winning. Our tech is getting better. New allies from across the galaxy join our fight every day. But if we can adapt, the monsters can too. We survived the apocalypse once, and we can do it again. My name's Commander Vadian Wayno, call sign Raptor. I've been fighting this war for a long time, but I can't do it alone. That's why the New Valor Defense Force needs you to suit up and fight back against the Colossi. I won't lie to you, they're bigger, faster, and sometimes I even wonder if they're smarter than us. But with your help, we can beat them and take our planet back for good. Think you have what it takes to be a Huskar? Join me. Together we can take Dimalco back from the monsters. For us, it's the rebirth of our home world. For them, it's Mechageddon.
Hey everybody, welcome back to our free action for our Paizo Live. I am here with John Compton and James Jacobs, and we are going to be talking about adventure paths in kind of just a generalized sphere of information. So thank you both for coming. Welcome to the show. Just let's start real lightly and kind of do a soft question. What do we have coming out for adventure paths this year?
Cool. I think we'll do a back and forth with me and John here, because the way we do Adventure Paths, we sort of swap out who's in charge of which one. The first one for this year is Seven Dooms for Sandpoint. That's already out. It's a special single volume Adventure Path, 200 pages long, to celebrate the 200th volume of Adventure Paths. We've been doing them for over 200 months in a row. Seven Dooms for Sandpoint is a Adventure Path for 3rd through 12th level, or 4th through 12th level characters. Goes back to the town of Sandpoint and is sort of a dungeon crawl through a nearby ruined complex, but you're going to be going back and forth between the town and the dungeon, as you are unraveling this sort of hidden conspiracy of these 7 evils that are kind of menacing the town of Sandpoint. And as you uncover one, you'll find the next one and the next one down the line. And all the time, kind of like, I guess, deep diving into nostalgia of the very first adventure we published for the Pathfinder Adventure Path back in Burnt Offerings. That said, you don't have to have played Rise of the Rune Lords or any of that older stuff in order to enjoy Seven Dooms for Sandpoint. But that's the first one that we've got coming out in this year. It's already out.
Speaking of other things that are already out, the one that follows, or the adventure path that follows that, is Wardens of Wildwood. So for a long, long time, it's kind of been, it's like a Grimm's fairy tale, where in adventure design, it's like the woods, they are full of danger. Don't go there unless you have weapons. And I wanted to do an adventure path that was one where it's like, no, the forest is your friend. You're on Team Forest. Now you get to fight all the weird things that wander into it, or find all the terrible things that are even worse inside of it. So in Wardens of the Wildwood, which is a level 5 through 13 adventure path in 3 parts, you are working with the Verduran Forest, and in particular the Verduran Lodge, or the Wildwood Lodge Druid organization. And basically, you're there to be helping retain the forest's freedom and protection and whatnot, as there are a whole bunch of different causes that have been escalating the amount of exploitation that have been happening. But especially, there's been a lot of bad blood for a lot of the forest inhabitants because of this thing called the Treaty of the Wildwood, which is basically a treaty with Taldor and to an extent Andoran nearby, saying, hey, civilizations nearby, you can take a little bit of lumber, just not too much, and we get to be kind of autonomous. But it's been very much interpreted as selling out to some of the more hardcore forest inhabitants. And the time is coming to push back. And so expect to be helping to restore some semblance of order as 2 very strong feeling opposing forces kind of butt heads and start to set everything on fire, which is a terrible thing to happen in the Verduran Forest.
Cool. After that, we're going on into high-level adventure paths with Curtain Call. This one is another 3-part adventure path going from 11th level to 20th level. It's going to be the one launching around Gen Con. And the original intent for this one was, let's do a sort of a whimsical, happy, fun adventure path. The plot is that your characters are hired to put on a opera, to design and set up and then help make this opera happen. Based on your adventures that you had were your first to 10th level. So, if you were going on an adventure like Abomination Vaults, you might see something like, we got this image of It's Showtime for Lem, basically, where he's going on stage and talking, he's singing with Belcor in the background and all of this shenanigans going on stage. Of course, all sorts of weird things can happen while you're trying to get a opera off the ground, whether you're trying to write it or hire actors or track down the right musicians or special effects and all of that. And a lot of that stuff is like kind of lighthearted and just a fun sort of romp. But at the same point, there's a lot of pretty grim, intense stuff happening in the background. This is also an adventure path that will be tying into the War of Immortals storyline we've got going on. And I'm not going to spoil exactly how that plays out, but it's going to be pretty intense. And there's a reason why you're going to be 20th level by the end of this adventure path. So we'll just leave it at that.
And just on that point,
Yep.
like James, we have a long history in our adventures of like the Swallowtail Festival, Seven Sins of Larazad, or whatever it was called. Like anytime somebody puts on a show or goes to a party, it's always a totally peaceful operation. We have a guarantee from you, right, that once you put on an opera, everything's good, right?
Leave your weapons at home, leave your armor at home. Yeah, you're fine.
Fantastic. It's about time that we didn't build any narrative tension toward rolling for initiative.
Yeah. Leave your initiative dice at home too. You won't need it.
Speaking of initiative, one of the things the one that follows after that is one that we have only just mentioned briefly, maybe 2-3 weeks ago during War of Immortals, God's Reign talks. And so that is called Triumph of the Tusk. Admittedly, you might look at this and say, it is the Orc AP, but just like Sky King's Tomb was the Dwarf AP that totally allows you to play anything other than dwarves if you like. So too does Triumph of the Tusk. Totally welcome orc, or non-orc, Drumar, etc. Player characters. Basically, RX the Whitehair, one of the head honchos and ringleaders within Belkzen, has been trying to kind of show the softer side of orc, much like Paizo has been doing in many ways, and has been inviting a whole bunch of different representatives in for the beginning of the Flood Truce to show off all of the cool stuff that really does exist in Belkzen, and how he wants to say, we're open for business. We are not here to horribly behead you. This is not some sort of Tolkien thing where once you see orcs, you want to say, oh my God, pull your crossbows. And this does parallel a lot with how Paizo, especially in the Age of our Lost Omens version of the setting, have been kind of giving orcs a big return and revision, and kind of looking back at them and saying, what do we want to keep? What do we want to change up? And how can we maintain a lot of the core flavor of orcs? In addition to that, there's a whole bunch of great concept art that we've had done that is kind of revisited everything that orcs can be, and how we want to show how they do live in this seasonal badlands and flood zone that is Belkzen. So expect it to be kind of the running down the middle path of morality, kind of like a Kingmaker game. If you want to play a little bit edgier, a little bit more decapitation friendly, it'll allow that. And if you want to play standard heroes, totally cool as well. So should be a good fun time. That'll be coming out later on. This is a level 3 to 11.
So what I'm hearing is over there in creative, it's a lot of just bonbons and daiquiris and not a whole lot of work going on whatsoever. We don't have any major events coming out. It's such a shame that you guys are slacking. So I'm so kidding. I'm so excited for all of these. I can only run one AP at a time, and I am only one person, and it's a little irritating. Which does lead into a question. As the community manager, I've seen it quite often from people who may be new to our game and new to our setting. Why does Paizo do adventure paths as opposed to like a single self-contained volume that comes out every so often?
There's a really specific reason we do that, and it has to do with the fact that we started this all out as a magazine company way back in the day, doing the official D&D magazines. And when we transitioned over from that to doing our own thing, the idea of like having this regular, income coming in every month was really important to, keeping the company alive. And so we already knew that we were really good at making adventures and had a lot of fun making these adventure paths. So it was like, well, just let's keep doing this. We're gonna have to build our own world at the same time, so that'll be kind of complicated. But the main reason that we are doing adventure paths is to just kind of keep that going. People can build all the characters they want, but it's the adventures that are going to build the stories they remember. And having constant new adventures for you to go on is, I think, really important. Like you were saying, you're just one guy, but there's hundreds, there's thousands, there's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, hopefully, folks out there playing Pathfinder, and giving them a lot of different options to choose from is really important. I mean, we had back in when we did hit Pathfinder 100, we did this poster map with the first 100 adventure paths. I think we got that art floating around here somewhere. We did that as a poster for volume 100, and this is 100 months later. So we've done twice as many adventure path poems as is on that poster now. So it's kind of a nonstop romp. We just want to make sure that there's always something new for you to play whenever your latest campaign comes to an end. And even if you're not running the adventure path as is, it shows people how you can build a campaign and stitch stories together and all of that. So it's also it's fun. We like doing it. So
And,
that's
and on
important
top of
too.
that, constantly creating new adventure paths also means that we're covering all sorts of different themes and areas.
Mhm.
So if there's something that you really want to play of a certain region, then we probably have something like it already or something coming out soon for it.
Absolutely. There's just looking at that poster map, knowing that there's twice as many now. There's just so many books. Marketing should work on partnering with IKEA to get, RPG capable bookshelves together. So when we started doing those APs, we started with Burnt Offerings, we started with Rise of the Runeloads. Those were originally 6-volume APs. We have recently said that we are switching to 3 volumes. What kind of prompted the switch to reduce by half the number of volumes, but we're also not reducing the content, right? So it's just an organizational thing.
Yeah, and so when we look at like Pathfinder's first edition, and even to an extent some of the first adventure paths for the second edition, those 6 volumes were kind of the, hey, we want to show an entire character career arc. So for first edition, a lot of those ran from like level 1 to 15-ish. When we started doing second edition, we kind of pushed ourselves real hard to put as much content in as possible and make okay, we want to make it level 1 through 20, get all 20 levels. We don't want people to say, now that I'm level 17 and have 9th level spells, I can retire and never use this character again. So one of the issues that brings up is that, it's kind of rushing things a little bit. But more importantly, when it comes to 6-volume adventure paths, it's a lot. It's a lot for us to develop, of course, it's a lot for us to print, but it's also a lot for a gaming group to get through. We certainly have the exceptions that we sometimes see online where they're like, I play them as quickly as you publish them, and kudos to you. Kudos to you, whoever you are, and all of your free time. And your easily scheduled friends. But for a lot of folks, like 3 volumes is a much more approachable length. Both from like a person's wanting to say, I will GM the next thing, to people saying, I would like to play a whole wide variety of different characters because Paizo keeps on being a jackal and publishing new classes and class playtests. So from all that perspective, it's like we want to make sure that we are telling fun, complete stories, but not monopolizing the entire next 18 months of your life and your gaming group schedule. So 3-volume adventure paths does a lot more of that, and it also allows us to do a lot more types of storylines, like I mentioned just a moment ago. Of now we can do all these different themes, as opposed to saying only twice per year do we have a certain thing. And if you don't like Skull and Shackles and Pirates, well, tough luck. Come back in November, sort of thing.
Right, and especially from like a marketing perspective, we lean very heavily into, and as opposed to if you need to wait 6 months, now it's only 3 months, and the stories can vary so much. We enjoy themes, but at the same time, we're also trying to tell as many themes and stories as possible. Are there any plans to go back to that 6-volume plan, or is it going to be 3-volume for the foreseeable future?
It's going to be primarily 3 volumes for the foreseeable future, but there are exceptions. And part of that exception is what we do in any of our adventure building, where we look at what story we want to tell and we say, what is the right size for this? And sometimes we look at a story idea and we say, this would be a great standalone adventure. Or we say, oh gosh, I'd love to do this for an adventure path, but maybe we should talk to Shay and Josh or Jessica over in the organized playland, because frankly, if someone were to play this for more than 5 hours, they would yell at us and get tired of whatever the shtick is. So I think that there are certainly some ideas that have been floating around on the narrative team that we've looked at and we've said, well, maybe we do a 6-part adventure path for that one. Or as you've seen with Season of Ghosts, sometimes we do a 4-part adventure path. Not as common, we're likely to do multiples of 3 still, but I'd say that 6-part adventure paths are still on the table, but we're really going to pull them out when we know they're going to have the greatest narrative and sales impacts.
Which makes total and complete sense. Speaking of narrative impact, that's actually a really good segue. I appreciate you. Some of these 3-volume adventure paths, they're not all starting at level 1, and they don't all necessarily go to level 20. There's a good kind of mix. Are there plans to potentially link adventures? So if you were going to do, say, a curtain call style adventure, you would be able to have narrative links from one adventure path to another to get you there, so it feels like a full and complete story.
Yeah, I think that there are going to be some of those possibilities, and so certainly from the like level 1 through 10 and level 11 through 20 adventure paths, there are certainly some kind of natural or implicit links between those. But we've also created a couple of our adventures that have kind of soft onboarding potential. So whether you're playing some of the earlier adventure paths and you say, cool, now we have these high level characters with all sorts of stories that we can turn into an opera in Curtain Call, then fantastic. There are some of our standalone adventures that start up at levels where, you know, Triumph of the Tusk or Wardens of Wildwood could potentially end, things like that. And James, are there some other connections that you have on your end?
Yeah, like Rust Henge, which is a standalone adventure that just came out, is a first through third level adventure. It's kind of intended to be like an introduction, not an easy adventure. It's still pretty tough, but there are links that you could play Rust Henge and then pretty organically go into Seven Dooms for Sandpoint, because there's, I won't get into too many spoilers, but there's a thing you find in one that you can use on the other one, basically. But I think one of the main ideas we're also, I'm personally really excited about, looking forward to, is not actually like building for real sequels to adventure paths, but building a stronger link so that there's more advice for people who want to play these things as a first to 20th level adventure path, to have a narrative through line. And that's something we're still looking at, and it may have something to do with the spoiler that I hear I might have to be revealing in a short time. We'll see.
We did say there was a cost for coming on the show. You agreed to this ahead of time, so I don't want to hear any complaining.
I got my bag of spoilers right here.
Perfect. So we've actually used a couple of interchangeable terms. And again, if people have never or are new to Pathfinder and the setting, what's the difference between an adventure path and a standalone adventure? They both contain the word adventure, but they are different. How are they different, and how can people learn to delineate between the two?
The big difference is scope. We haven't really talked too much about the standalone adventure line. That's a line that's kind of been maybe one or two a year. We're going to hopefully get back to doing these more regularly. And going forward, they're going to be hardcover books. They're going to be 128 pages. The next one coming up is Pray for Death. We've got this wonderful idyllic sunrise at this Crimson Citadel illustration here. It's an adventure path where you're playing Red Mantis assassins who, you know, they live on a tropical island, and here's the sun rising over Avestan, shining down on this beautiful structure. It's just coincidentally the color of blood. Don't worry too much about it. But the big thing with the standalone adventures is that they let us tell a single narrative in one kind of fell swoop, without having to go through different volumes. Like I'd mentioned earlier on, the adventure paths we publish monthly. They come out in chunks, and each one of those has to kind of be their own self-contained thing, because we don't know if you're just going to play the second one or the third one. With a standalone adventure, we've got, in theory, your attention the whole way through. And so that lets us tell stories that don't really, you know, work well for a multi-part storyline. So my classic favorite example is the Slay the Dragon story. That's, you know, go kill the dragon. That's the classic adventure that fantasy is based on. That's a perfect adventure for a standalone adventure, because you start, the dragon is being mean, you go find the dragon, you kill the dragon. With an adventure path, you start, the dragon is being mean, you do something, the dragon's still being mean, you do something, the dragon's still being mean, you do something, now you kill the dragon. And so it's a little bit it's too drawn out. So with these two types of adventures, and then also, while standalone adventures are still pretty lengthy, they cover 3 or 4 or even 5 levels of play. They're more of a bite size. You can drop those into an ongoing campaign without having it be the campaign. One analogy I've been using a lot lately is a standalone adventure is kind of the same as like a movie, a standalone movie that you go see, and you know, it's got a start, a middle, and an end, and you watch it and you're done. And it can be a good movie. Hopefully it's a great movie. An adventure path, on the other hand, is something like, it came up earlier because it's awesome, the Fallout TV show, or Game of Thrones, or Lost, or any sort of these really long form TV shows that have narratives through multiple seasons. That's an adventure path. That's a story that is more of a kind of a lifestyle that your group is going on for many, many months or even years. And so it's a much larger commitment, I guess, than what's going on. And then, of course, if you want to just game for the night, we have so many scenarios and quests from the organized play, which I believe I have heard rumors we're going to be talking about more of that pretty soon too.
Maybe.
That's not my spoiler.
No, but speaking of your spoiler, it's time to pay up. So reach into that spoiler bag and throw a couple of things at me. What do you got here?
Did you have one too, John? Or
Sure.
all right. Well, I'll do mine first. Since I'm already talking, I have a big lung full of air. So 7 Dooms for Sandpoint, your players play through that. You win that at about 12th level. And we've been talking about how, like, if you want to play a new adventure path after that, they're sort of all kind of synced up pretty well. This one, you might want to set your 12th level characters from 7 Dooms to Sandpoint aside in like the character storage box and like let them just kind of chill for a while, because we might have some plans sometime in the future for a more official continuation of the 7 Dooms to Sandpoint story. Not necessarily continuing in Sandpoint, but there are certain things that we're going to be doing maybe in an unannounced adventure path well over maybe at least a year from now. Anyway, so keep those characters handy. If you want to play in Curtain Call, you could play these characters in Curtain Call, but it might be better to play different characters and let them just kind of cool their jets for a little bit.
On my end, I enjoy playing around with some of the local flora and fauna with any of the adventure paths. There was an image that I forgot to mention of Yoon on a giant squirrel that's tied into Wardens of Wildwood. You'll see it at the beginning of the first volume's adventure toolbox. But for Triumph of the Tusk, in Belton, we already knew that there were a lot of aurochs, always good. But we also saw that there was a Wing Ripper hold that is known for riding around on wyverns. And so that would be a really cool creature companion. But sometimes there are the creature companions we don't expect. And when I mentioned that concept art earlier, we talked to Kent Hamilton, we basically like, this, and generally this for orcs, otherwise surprises. And one of the things that he did to surprise us is he sent us some things that they might ride around on that I've now turned into some creature companion stats in the back of one of the volumes. And all I can say is War Pig. War Pig.
There's a certain like recipe you've been talking about in the chats lately too. Does that have anything to do with that?
No, mud bacon is a different creature entirely.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it is something that one of our developers, Michelle, has turned into a bit of a culinary social scene.
And this is
Mud
why
bacon.
I want in the creative chats. This kind of thing. Y'all sound like you have so much fun. All right, so thank you for talking about adventure paths with me. We are going to move on to our next section, and I do believe that Rue and Shay are going to be talking about that Pathfinder Year 6 thing that might be happening with the kids these days.
Gallowspire, my seat of power, and my prison. This is no place for heroes, living or otherwise. You dare step foot within my domain to challenge the power of the Lich King Tar-Baphon? Do you honestly think bringing a companion along will delay your demise? You shall both make fine additions to my legion. Oh, my little pawns, your presence here can only delay my return. You will die here, alone and afraid, consumed by darkness. Your tale shall never be told, as there will be no Gallowspire survivors.
Welcome, friends, to the Greenwood Gala, where all the people of the forest, even talking animals like me, come together to celebrate everything wonderful about nature. We get to know each other, have fun, and respectfully share ideas. Here in the Verdurin Forest, the Treaty of the Wildwood protects nature. It lets our neighbors harvest a few trees, conserve the rest, and all in all keeps everyone peaceful, warm, and happy. happy. This is a pleasant place, full of wonder, where everyone gets along. Wait, what's that? Well, I mean, the treaty keeps the arboreals happy, so they would never... Oh, nope, they look angry. Surely the Fae of the forest understand that... Oh, this isn't good. I can't remember the last time that... Oh no! Everyone needs to hold up for a minute. We can talk this through. Wait, no, not like that. Okay, the Verduran forest is always fun and cheery, but this is getting out of control. Get some negotiators. Meet with the lumberjacks and druids. Smile a bunch. No, this is not how we're supposed to negotiate. This shouldn't be happening. We're supposed to be gathering, sharing, having fun. And now, everyone's tearing apart the treaty. Maybe we need some new faces. Some fresh ideas. Someone who's gonna make things right. Hey, maybe some Wardens of Wildwood.
Hello, I'm excited to be back, and this time I am joined by Shay. Shay, what have
Hello.
you- Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good.
First off, what have you been playing recently, if you've been playing things?
Oh man. Let's see. One of my friends just really got me into Warframe, so I've been really meching it up lately. But also when I need to relax and play something just like a little bit more chill, I picked up Thief Simulator 2 for like really cheap on Steam. So I've been bouncing back and forth between those two games.
Okay, I have to ask, because I don't know, what is Thief Simulator 2, and is it what it sounds like?
It's what it sounds like. It's a simulator game for going around to different neighborhoods and stealing stuff. I just leveled up my thief enough to go into people's garages and turn off their security systems, and now I can steal their cars.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
So I've been bouncing between those.
A good mix of vibes. Well, just in case anyone doesn't know, you are the line developer for Pathfinder Society. That's what the job title is, right?
Yeah, I'm a Pathfinder Society developer. I'm the one who focuses on the metaplot and making sure that all kind of ties in together. Josh Foster does all of the other little bitty wiggle things.
I'm so happy that y'all do that. It amazes me every time. But we're here for something very special. And if anyone saw on the Paizo blog yesterday, they would have gotten a little bit of a sneak peek. But we're ready for a new season of Pathfinder Society. So what can you tell me about year 6?
So year 6 is the year of immortal influence. As it starts out about a little bit into the year, the God's Reign begins. So we were like, okay, well, this is a living campaign, so obviously, you know, we need to make sure that what's going on in Galarion is also going on in the Pathfinder Society. So, multiple things are going on, but for the most important part, as you saw in our little half-pager that was debuted, Miss Hesla Imbersplitter is a new face on the Absalom scene. She is a socialite. She's got no family. She's got no background or anything. She just sort of appeared, but she's got a lot of money. And you know what? There's a lot of groups that need a lot of money, and specifically one of those groups that needs a lot of money is the Knights of Lastwall. And she has her eyes set on Watcher Lord Ulthun II. She is looking at him and she's like, that's the one.
Okay.
But she's a little suspicious. So
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just me, but if a really rich lady comes into town with absolutely no family ties whatsoever, I'm like,
no family, no social ties, no nothing. But everybody else is sort of like, I mean, it's Absalom. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do anything they want. And the Pathfinder Society is like, that is suspicious. And she's like, I literally don't care that you find me suspicious, Pathfinders. I don't care, because everybody else loves me.
okay, you know, good for her.
Honestly.
Now, whenever we do a new season, we also get a new season symbol. So can we talk about the inspirations behind this year's season symbol?
So this year's season symbol is a locust head, which is holding a coin from Absalom. I cannot remember the name of it, but it is the silver coin. I
I
can't
love
reveal
him.
too much about that, but there is a reason he's there.
I love him very much. The art's very
He's
good.
fantastic. Honestly, our artist for our half page and our symbol did a fantastic job. It is amazing. I have been corrected. It is a platinum sphinx is the coin. Fun facts about that. We have 2 different designs for that sphinx. And this, I believe, is the one that we pulled from Travel Guide? Travel Guide, I think. So, we went through a lot of different things, but I was very specific. I wanted the locust to be holding the coin, and I feel like somebody's gonna figure out what's going on just from that image, but I can't say anything.
Well, now I'm gonna have to play all the scenarios to find out. So when can we expect to start playing year 6 scenarios?
Year 6 will debut this year at Gen Con. We are starting with 600, which is Salt of the Ocean, which is our big Pathfinder Society special. And then we will start with 601, which is the intro to the Year of Immortal Influence. And that is where you will go to a lovely dinner party with Lady Embersplitter. It is tickets only. It is raising funds for charity. You are going on behalf of the Waterfall, who everybody knows from season 5. She's one of your Decemvirate members. We found out a lot of recent information about the Waterfall, so there's a little bit going on there.
Well, I'm very excited, and I think we have one more piece of art here, and you mentioned him earlier. Can you tell me a little bit about Watcher Lord Othun?
Yeah, Watcher Lord Ulthun II. He is technically the leader of the Knights of Last Wall, but he is stationed currently in Absalom, while the Iomidars in Last Wall proper are, working on getting everybody kind of, rallied up and making battle plans and things like that. He is in Absalom raising funds and, trying to make sure that everybody is aware that there is an issue with Tar-Bathon and the Whispering Way and things like that. And Lady Embersplitter is just like, yes, let's focus on this. Let's get Tar-Bathon defeated. He did so much bad stuff. Which could never be distracting from anything else.
Oh no. There's only one problem ever happening on Galarian.
Right. It's only ever this. Don't worry.
Don't worry about it.
He also he has been seen a lot with Wenzel Starborn, who is another leader, who's the current acting Primarch of Absalom. So
Ooh.
there's a lot going on. But she does kind of keep popping up on his arm. So it's very interesting.
Well, I'm really excited for all the political intrigue it sounds like this is gonna have. I'm a big fan of political weird stuff in my tabletop games, so I'm very excited. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you'll be talking a little bit more about this at PaizoCon, right?
I will. There will be the news from Organized Play. You have to let me take a moment to remember it. Where I will be giving even more information about year 6, and you will also be hearing from Jessica Catalan about the new year of Starfinder Society, and hearing from Josh Foster about what little things that he's doing too.
Awesome. Well, before I let you go, did I miss anything? Is there anything you want to spoil for me?
Ooh, what do I want to spoil? I'll save something for now, and then I'll save something for later during the QA. So the one I want to spoil now is one of the scenarios that we have coming up is called Upon Wheels and Rhyme. And Rhyme is R-I-M-E. And that takes place in Irison, and you will be interacting with Queen Anastasia.
Okay, I know this segment's supposed to end with the spoiler, but I do want to take a moment to say that I ran the quest that takes place in the dollhouse for PAX, and I absolutely lost it when I was reading that scenario, and then I realized that Queen Anastasia, the real human person,
Yep.
is canon in our universe, and that
She
made me
is.
so happy.
It's fantastic. I'm so excited about the new little secrets that you're going to get to see when everybody busts that scenario open.
Oh, that's so awesome. Well, thank you so much, Shay, and we'll see you back here in just a little bit when we do our Q&A. But first, we're going to do another little ad break, and then John's going to talk to Jenny and Jason about what you'll be seeing from Paizo on Free RPG Day.
In the nation of Shenmin, spirits and monsters stalk the depths of Spectre Wood, and ghost towns outnumber those inhabited by living souls. But this was not always the case. Over 100 years ago, the Age of Lost Omens began in Tian Sha with the collapse of the mighty Lunghua Empire, an event that left the small towns of Shenmin isolated and forced their citizens to become self-sufficient or fall to ruin. Willow Shore was one such town. Founded to support the construction of a remote mountain monastery, Willow Shore soon transitioned over to a lumber town, and like so many others, it was forced to fend for itself in the years after the Empire's fall. Not 2 years later, the records speak of a mysterious curse that fell upon the town, and while details of what took place have been lost to time, the events of Willow Shore's Season of Ghosts will now be told. The Season of Ghosts begins during the first days of summer, and is a time when the unquiet spirits of Spectrewood grew particularly restless. The townsfolk of Willow Shore celebrate this with a night of feasting on the last day of spring, but when a group of heroes wakes the day after, they find their hometown under siege. Fog shrouds the town, and the night sky shimmers under the light of a crimson moon, and monsters now stalk freely through the town's streets. While defending the monstrous invaders and lighting the town's protective eternal lantern could restore Willow Shore to safety, these invaders and strange manifestations are only the beginning, as walls of ghostly shapes rise in the surrounding woods. The town of Willow Shore has become cursed, and its people must band together if they are to survive the coming year and the horrific monsters they will face. Can the town's newest hero save their homes, family, and themselves? Or will the Season of Ghosts mean the end for them all?
In 316 AG, the Galactic Explorers League, known as the Starfinder Society, lost over 80% of its membership during a mission into the region of space known as the Scoured Stars. Following the mission, a golden barrier encompassed the distant Trinary star system, and contact has been cut off ever since. You and your friends are recently graduated Starfinders, finding yourselves in a galaxy where the Society's future rests in your hands. Or whatever appropriate alien appendages you possess. It's up to you to rebuild the fractured Starfinder Society, make allies at home and in distant regions of space, fend off new and ancient threats alike, and eventually solve the mystery of the Scoured Stars. All in a day's work for a Starfinder. The Scoured Stars is a 260-page hardback epic adventure that takes your Starfinder characters from 1st to 15th level, containing 12 distinct adventures. This science fantasy campaign has the players take center stage as a new generation of Starfinder, working to uncover the secrets of the region of space known as the Scoured Stars. Along the way, you'll travel across the cosmos in your starship, make first contact with alien species, encounter emerging galactic threats, explore ancient ruins, and build a coalition of powerful allies to tackle whatever the Scoured Stars has to throw at you.
All right, and we are back, and we have put aside all of those Paizo friends of ours who don't have J names, and I'm sitting here with Jenny and Jason talking about Free RPG Day. Free RPG Day is June 22nd, and Paizo will have offerings available. So let's ask the important questions. What are we doing for Starfinder for Free RPG Day?
So this year, we're going to take a little departure from what we've mostly done in the past, which is adventures. And you know what? We love Free RPG Day adventures. We know you love them too. We're going to get back to them. But because we are launching Starfinder 2nd Edition and the playtest starts this August at Gen Con, we figured we'd give you just yet another little preview and something that can help you in that playtest. So I think you have the art for the cover. Our Starfinder Free RPG Day offering is going to be called Second Contact, which for those of you who have been around a while will notice First Contact was our first ever Starfinder preview. So this is going to be like a little preview with some classic Starfinder aliens and monsters that have gotten a little 2E remaster and a facelift with some new art, and the art is really cool. As you can see, there's a lot happening in that cover.
Our art is always so. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, I was just sorry. I took a moment to just gush about the art. But yeah, we have I have a couple of other pieces from that I can preview for you. I don't want to show you everything, but I can show these awesome people a few little bits. So you'll recognize some old favorites like a certain crust eater that probably, if you've played Starfinder Society, you've fought one of these probably many times. And we've got our good old laser wolves, our Tashtari. Let's see, there he is. And then we've got some new swarm components as well. For those who don't know, the swarm are an insectoid enemy in Starfinder who kind of just ravage. They go through the galaxy and create husk worlds out of formerly thriving planets, eating up all the resources and creating their own hives. So we got some cool new swarm art. This is a bit of a departure from some of the style you would have seen in first edition. But again, you know, we're not going to change everything. Starfinder's awesome, but we've got to give it a few little new touches for 2E. So look forward to that. You'll get a good sampler of some basic starting out enemies, various levels that you can use in your playtest, or just pick them apart and kind of see what we're thinking, because we will have more to announce at Gen Con.
Not that it's a major release for us or anything, or we need to be hyping people or any way, shape, or form. So because you brought new friends to the stream, I have to ask, which one of the new friends is your favorite? Do you have one?
Out of them, I don't know. The Swarm Bastarox is a pretty good friend to have. Kind of a scary friend to invite over to your house, but definitely somebody you want in your corner and
The
not
scary
out
swarm privilege. Yeah.
Yes.
You made these new swarm look terrifying and disgusting, and I love them.
Yeah,
art
thank
is
you.
always so good.
Yeah.
We have the best art. So, Jason, what do we have on the Pathfinder side for Free RPG Day?
Well, we have an adventure for you that is called The Great Toy Heist. And in previous Free RPG Day adventures that we've done for Pathfinder, you've been able to play a group of goblins, you've been able to play a group of leshies, etc. Now, you get to play a group of poppets. Living little puppet people, one of our rare ancestries, and as you can see on the screen, all 4 of them, various shapes, sizes, and materials, to show the sort of the wide range that you could be as poppets here. Going from left to right from the screen here, that's Cutie Kill Stuff, the Hell Pup, the Tin Wizard, and Marcella the Marionette, who is a mime.
I love them, Jason.
They're cute, yeah.
Cutie Kill Stuff is probably the most on-the-nose PC name I have ever heard in my life. It is so perfect.
I had to be like, oh, it'd be hilarious to put make a barbarian, right? And then like, what's the cutest thing that could be a barbarian? Well, a big stuffed bunny, of course. A teddy bear would have maybe been a little too on the nose for a barbarian, so we went with big pink bunny instead.
Perfect. So good. So this is an adventure that's about puppets and toys. I'm assuming there's a heist involved just based off the title alone.
Yeah.
What were some of the inspirations for creating this and writing this sort of adventure?
Yeah, well, the heist has to deal with the toy shop that they all came to life in. Is getting sort of the adventure takes place in the Chelish city of Agorian, which is sort of the capital, and has a lot of sort of like devilish influences and whatnot. And then there's some evil banker who's foreclosing on the toy shop, and so the puppets have to break into his manor and steal the deed back for their creator in order to save the toy shop. So it's a classic we got to save the family farm kind of tale. But of course, the title itself is a very veiled riff on the Great Muppet Caper. And I just had to do something along those lines. Having a heist, having puppets, immediately the Great Muppet Caper comes to mind. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's so great. I'm so excited about all this stuff. I'm sure everybody else chat looks like they're very much having a whole lot of fun. Is the Tin Wizard actually made of tin, or is that just what he is called?
Yeah, he's the Tin Wizard. He's like a little tin toy, shoots sparks out of his hands.
Oh, that's not dangerous
Which
at
is
all.
his electric arc cantrip, basically, right? The Hell Pup is the quadruped puppet who's stitched together leather toy, and I don't know if you can kind of tell from that art. The Hell Pup is a witch, so they've got a familiar, and that familiar is a tiny bat that is stitched together out of two pieces of leather that came off of Hell Pup when Hell Pup. Well, okay, while I was going through these and writing the backstories for these puppet, Hell Pup has the saddest backstory possible. They kind of get accidentally pushed out into the city, and they feel rejected, and then they get rescued. Cutie comes in and rescues them. So it's all good, and all they all come together. And the Tin Wizard basically teaches himself, and Marcella the marionette is actually the spirit of a dead rogue who comes to life as this marionette mime. And she's the mastermind behind the whole thing. She's like, oh, I know what we can do. What we'll do is we'll package ourselves up in a crate and get ourselves sent to the manor of the Baron, and they'll never know. We'll sort of be, it's like a Trojan horse situation. And when
I need a Don Bluth animated movie like yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of animated movie references. Not references, just inspiration, of course. And the other sort of big inspiration is the sort of the idea of Agorian and Cheliax kind of having all these sort of devilish influences and whatnot. That the Baron has a couple of essentially, I call them spoiled cats, but they're imps. And they're the first persons that sort of notice that something is wrong with the puppets who are up here, and they are called Tisk and Tut. And I had a grand old time writing them because I love duos who talk to each other without talking to the protagonist. They're like, oh, Tusk, what do we have here? Looks like we've got some burglars. Oh, that's right, Tut. And so, they talk to each other. They have one of the most things that I have had to write, which is the little dialogue that they give before they attack.
That is absolutely amazing. I am very excited for Free RPG Day. I didn't require it of you, which is kind of rude. I forced John and James to pay with spoilers. I didn't make you guys pay, but if there's anything you want to spoil from your stuff, you are more than free to do so. But I like you guys, so you don't have to. You don't want to.
That's wow, fair. We get off scot-free this time.
The Great Toys is a shorter adventure, so it's not. I don't want to give away the whole thing. I've already said about half of it as it is. But with Tisk and Tut, they do offer a fiendish bargain, which if things go bad for the puppets, and I really hope that happens for at least one group.
Ooh.
As the social media guy, please, when you play this, let me know if something goes bad for your puppets, because I want to share those stories internally. All right. Well, that's been Free RPG Day. Thank you very much. And I do believe that coming up next is our Q&A segment. So I'm just going to keep you guys here, and we'll see you again in 10 seconds.
Dwarves are a people of stone, ancient as the mountain's roots where we were born, industrious as the gods who made us, strong as the metal we worked. It all changed millennia ago when our creator, Toreg, shook the earth, calling us upward to a surface we had never known. A harrowing journey we remember as the quest for Sky. A journey that would have failed if not for an unlikely dwarf's leadership, Targek. He was born as the earthquake subsided. He was raised knowing only our sacred ascent. He was dismayed as doubt grew in our people, and he united us in purpose, and we made him our king, a Sky King. For centuries he ruled, building great fortresses, magnificent cities, towering monuments celebrating Toreg and his people's accomplishments. And then, without fanfare, he disappeared. But his legend survived. And what dwarf doesn't dream of taking up their ancestors' arms and experiencing adventures of their own? Adventures taking them far below the surface to become foul creatures' next meal. I certainly did. And I was a fool. But what I didn't know was that this was the start of something far greater. This is a story of daredevils braving cities of malice and majesty. A story of seekers grappling with a terrible past. A story of survivors overcoming any danger the Darklands throw at them. A story of heroes discovering the Sky King's tomb.
Your table is where the adventure begins. Unleash your hero. Forge your legend. And make your next game night a critical hit.
Oh no. Okay, sorry about that. So Q&A, here we are with the panel. I'm just going to grab questions from our question and answer document and let the panel converse, and we will go from there. Okay, so this first one is for Jenny about Mechageddon. The question was asked, what are some of your favorite mech mods and options from Tech Revolution or from the Adventure Path?
Oh my goodness. Oh, making me choose my favorite babies.
I was gonna say, this is not an easy question for you.
There are so many cool ones. So it's not a mod, but so weapons, like I really like the chainsword. I just think it's a really cool conceptual weapon. That's from Tech Revolution. That's not from Mechageddon. As for Mechageddon, though, we have some really cool new mech rules that kind of arose from having different authors design mechs for us and for examples for you. So I showed off the anthem earlier, which is, you pilot through music. So like your actual musical talent, your performance, you can use that to help pilot your mech. So I think that's a super cool little doohickey. And we've also got this really nasty demon designed weapon that allows you to inject acid into the cockpit of a mech. So that's on the nasty side of favorite weird cool things that are coming in Mechageddon.
Terrifying.
Somebody remind me to never get on Ginny's bad side.
Creatives
Didn't
are
know
the
that by
worst,
now.
y'all.
This stream isn't going to change it.
Hello everyone. I'm secretly not on the screen because we have lots of guests and I'd rather you see all of them than me, but I am going to ask questions from behind my secret screen. So my question is for John Compton, and it says, was that a Conrasu on the book 2 cover of Wardens of Wildwood? Can we expect to see more of them in the adventure path?
Yeah, that is a very special Conrasu, larger than the ones you're likely to play as player characters. Conrasus are first showed up in the Mwangi Expanse Lost Omens book, and they're a pretty rare ancestry. There is one that we know of now who's showing up in Wardens of Wildwood, who's a pretty important NPC. Certainly, if you want to show up as your own Conrasus, then go nuts. As creatures made of space and wood, I'm sure they will fit in just fine.
Thank you.
All right, going further down the document, I have someone with a pressing PFS question. What is the status of Lamashtu legality post remaster? Those are certainly a lot of words to be strung together, and if you know, that's great. Out of context.
Lamashu is completely legal. You as you don't have to choose Unholy in order to play her cleric, you can play Cleric of Lamashtu within Pathfinder Society.
Woohoo. You know who you are. You're very excited for this.
It's me. I'm excited.
Lamashtu is quite popular, so I'm sure lots of people are excited.
Is it my turn to speak from beyond again?
Yeah, go for it.
Maybe. All right. I didn't want to step on anybody. This is actually a question for everybody, so I'm gonna make everyone do work. Does anyone have any fun games that they're playing this coming weekend?
I'm running Mummy's Mask on Sunday, where we will be continuing on with book 3, and my players will be taking a station wagon through the Hexploration map, in order to travel to all the different locations that they need to go to.
That's amazing.
I am playing Lancer this weekend, surprising no one, probably. I'm actually playing a pop star from Beyond Union Space who joined up with this, like, she had a bit of a PR problem, and she got kind of like press ganged into this like company where they put people who are problems, and she's learning. We've just started this campaign, but you know, we're kind of learning about each other and forming bonds, and maybe she's like learning to not be so shallow and focused on just like, you know, her looks and her outfits, and also pew pew in a mech is really cool. So yeah, I'm doing that. There's my answer.
Not this weekend, but it's next weekend actually. So I'm sort of cheating a little bit, but I've been in a Legendary Planet mythic campaign run by Jason Nelson that's been going on for I think 5 or 6 years, and the last episode is happening next Saturday, and we're getting together in the real world for the first time since pre-pandemic. So
Wow.
it's gonna be rolling actual dice with my hands. I'm gonna have to like build up my calluses again.
Speaking of in person, I might play a couple board games this weekend. Maybe even a session of our very own Elemental Stones. But also probably maybe a game of Tapestry, which is a giant board game, civilization style board game, which is maybe you can maybe see it behind me on the shelf.
We do
Not
see lots of
necessarily playing
games.
anything this weekend, but a couple days ago we pre-recorded our PaizoCon stream that involves me running for the entire narrative or Pathfinder narrative team at once, and them playing 20th level characters. So tune in.
I heard there were
I
shenanigans.
suffer and Shay sings.
Oh, yeah.
I got to listen in on that recording, and it was amazing.
It's so rude.
I heard there were quite the shenanigans. All right, continuing on from our document. I will say this is a question for anyone who wants to answer. What would the Galarian equivalent of Macbeth be in terms of curses? Like, this is not a word you say in the theater. Bringing it back to curtain call. But if there was a Galarian equivalent of a word you would not want to say in a theater, what would that word be?
Grand Convocation.
You had that
I feel
locked and
like
loaded.
I feel like the sixfold trial play is probably pretty cursed, and people don't want to talk about
Yeah.
that too much.
Yeah, Larazad.
There might be some new stuff after you play Curtain Call.
There you go.
Whatever
Yeah.
the name
Whatever
of
the
your
name of your
play
opera
is.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Starfinder, it's whatever the name of your mech-based production is. Whatever that play is, that's it. It's that cursed one right there.
What do we have against theaters and plays? And it's
I'm a theater
That's
kid.
it.
I'm allowed to be mean to us.
I think it's something actually when I was working on Curtain Call that a lot of the authors I worked with, there's the Venn diagram of theater kid and RPG kid is pretty much just one
it's
circle.
a pancake. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So the reason they show up in adventures, at least as far as my influences, that I just love that sort of world. It's this layer of you're playing make believe in an RPG, and then you're playing make believe. It's like,
Don't go too deep; you'll never come back out.
oh yeah.
I have a question for Jenny. And this is in the vein of we should let Jenny do whatever Z wants. And I'm on team let Jenny do what she wants.
I'm also on that team anyway, for obvious reasons.
In Mechageddon, do or can any of them have magical girl transformations, whether that's the mechs, the colossi, or player characters?
Oh hell yeah. I mean, I think I've already spoiled this somewhere before, but we do introduce in Mechageddon a way to in-game transform your mech into a starship. Of course, you have your own starship forms that you will have to like pre-build or select, but that can be a magical girl transformation. Suiting up in your mech in the first place can be a magical girl transformation. Just like have fun with it, make it whatever. Whether you need to have the glint in your helmet as you like stare at your rival who's totally only your rival and you don't have any feelings for them at all, or do your full fashion transformation, we are here for you to have your perfect mech adventure. So please make it
the two things I'll chime in
magical.
on that one is, one, I've heard tell that there may or may not be a Starfinder ability in Mechageddon called Now Kiss, and two, I know I'm going to let people down now if that doesn't exist in there. But also, Jenny, are there options for doing magical girl transformation sequences where my PC turns into the mech?
Well, that would be the Colossi born species that I tease. Sorry, I was about to say ancestry, but that's Starfinder too. You see the brain is a little scattered, but yeah, so that would actually allow you to be your mech as well as your normal character. So as you can see, Colossi born are something that's not going to be suitable for every campaign, and they very well may not make it into Starfinder Society. I'm sad to say. Like I can only imagine when Jessica and Alex first saw that like we went there, they were just like, are you kidding me, Jenny? But they're not meant to be in any campaign. They are in a campaign where you know that you and your group are going to do mech combat, because yes, they can magical girl transform into their own mech, which is them. So good question, John.
Okay, so I think we've answered quite a few. We're getting to be about time, so I think we're going to ask just maybe one more each, Rue, and then we can move on. So let me see. Let's go back to Shay. Hi, Shay.
Hi.
Someone is asking about PFS level caps and the potential of them going up.
PFS level caps, they're always a fun thing to discuss, and everybody goes, but we want to go higher, and there's a pyramid, you gotta so many of one and so many of other, and I'm getting possessed very briefly to open my little document, and debuting as one of our penultimate scenarios in year 6 will be What Walks Again, which will be levels 11 to 14.
Ooh.
Ooh.
All right, so it gets to be my question next. And I'm gonna ask one that mostly because I'm also curious. What do the plans look like about revisiting cosmic horror in adventures or adventure paths, whether that's in Starfinder or in Pathfinder?
Inevitable.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
There's one that I've had in my head that I wanted to do for a while that may or may not. No, I'm not going to say that. That's too much. Yes, there will be
Close.
cosmic horror stuff in Pathfinder going forward. I mean, it's in the best year. It's in Monster Core. You know, you might want to look in the D section for some examples. The letter D under like DOMIN, etc.
So if I could just poke in here real quick, if you play the upcoming scenario, Pathfinder Society scenario 518, Equal Exchanges Tapestry of the Mind, there will be cosmic horror in that.
Ooh.
Is that the third or fourth installment of the Equal Exchanges?
That's the fourth installment. That's the final one.
Woo! I can count.
Always useful. Yeah, we're gonna have cosmic horror in Starfinder too. First of all, you should play a Cosmic Birthday, which is a module for starting out Starfinder 2. It's gonna be our first playtest module. I also wrote it, so I'm a little bit biased, but there's some cosmic horror going down in there, and that's gonna give you some more connection and inkling into what we're doing with that in second edition. There's some cool stuff too that is coming that I know of that if you're a cosmic horror fan, you're gonna love, but I can't talk about it yet. So you're just gonna want to stay tuned to our Gen Con announcements because we're gonna announce a lot more goodies for Starfinder. That'll give you some insight there.
Awesome.
Very, very exciting. Now, this last one, Rue, I think you should ask this last one because I know that this is your thing. So I will cede the floor and let you ask this question.
Yeah, so something that I know about Jason is that he owns a Muppet, and I really, really want to see Jason's Muppet, so I'm asking very nicely if I can see the Muppet.
1 second.
We want to see him again.
Muppet time!
Manners on him.
Sometimes he gets a little antsy and he likes to fight me.
I love him so much.
Do I
Thank
talk
you.
in here? Yeah.
I don't know any better way to end than on Muppets, really. So
Oh yeah, what is his name?
Oh, yeah.
This is Dirk Gabardine, by the way. He's a washed-up lounge singer.
Jason,
What's
do
that?
your glasses fit on Dirk?
Ooh.
Oh no.
Oh,
yeah, they do.
Yeah!
Now he looks like a little bit more like me. I can't see a thing with.
Which is the Muppet.
Yeah, I ask myself that question every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you all very much. Why don't we take a moment and tell everyone where they can find you if you want them to find you, and if you don't, you can tell them that too. Let's go in order of who we talk. So I'm gonna make Jenny go first.
Hi, okay, I'm Jenny Jarzabski. Again, I am a senior developer for Starfinder. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at some configuration of Space Princess J. If you check out the Paizo blog, there's also a really cool little Discord that we're starting for Mechageddon. Just like if you really are into it and you want to talk about your experiences or find a group, come join it. I'm also going to be chatting on there, and that's it for me.
Next up, we've got James and Jon, two of the J names that we have on stream today.
We got a surplus of those. I'm James Jacobs. I'm the narrative creative director for Pathfinder. You can chat with me over on the Paizo forums, or I lurk on the Reddit subforum for 2A. That's about it. I'm sort of a social media hermit. I let my Muppet take care of all that, and he doesn't let me share his name because he's kind of a prima donna.
John Compton. I'm a senior narrative developer, and I mostly just hang out on Discord these days. So you can find me on the Pathfinder RPG fan Discord, particularly the Galarian Lore channel.
All right, and then we're gonna slide over to Shay.
I am Shay Snow. I am a Pathfinder Society developer for here over here at Paizo. You can mostly find me nowadays on Discord and on Blue Sky. I am at Spells and Sugar pretty much everywhere that you can find me. So.
And last but not least, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Jason Keeley. I'm a senior designer and resident goofball. You can find me a lot of the socials at Hers Weston, HERZWESTEN. And is this thing on? You can find me at the Lucky Penny Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Thank you all so much for coming on Paizo Live. I'm going to let John do the outro so that it isn't just a voice from beyond.
Okay, so I've been one of your hosts, John Morgantini. I am Paizo's community and social media manager. You can pretty much find me online at the various places as @LoreMasterJohn.
And I'm Rue. You can't see me right now, but I'm Paizo's marketing and media specialist, and you can find me most places as Ilana Knight, and on the site formerly known as Twitter as Ilana Knight 13. And while we don't have a Paizo Live coming up in June, the next time you can see lots of these wonderful people is PaizoCon, which is May 24th through the 27th. And we're going to have panels on essentially everything that we've got happening. So you don't want to miss out.
There's way too much stuff to talk about going on at PaizoCon than right now. But we will see you all there, Finders, and thanks for tuning in today.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.